What's up, studs? How you doing? Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Guys, want to talk to you a little bit about what we call the end of day fade. So one thing to always remember when you're trading, there's three different time frames to the trading day. You have your open, which is your 9:30 to 10:30, a.m. So during the open, you have patterns that you're going to use, but they don't work end of day. So you could go, ORB pattern, which is a pattern I just made. Check 2 videos ago. I made a pattern on the ORB pattern. You can do red to green, or you could do quick pulls, which is like a opening gap and push to the 9 EMA and then a bounce. Then from there, you get your 10:30 to 1 p.m. That's your midday. So this is like these are retracement patterns and consolidation patterns. Frankly, midday sucks. If you talk to a lot of traders, they'll tell you that usually that's the time like you go to the gym, right? God knows what else they're doing out there, but that's like your really boring part of the day. Then the end of the day, the market picks up and you usually choose a side. Now, end of day, when the market picks up, you usually choose a side. Sometimes you get some real heat up or down on some stocks. A lot of times it's really a dud. It seems like in the last couple months, you get the first hour of the day and then everything is in a standstill. But every blue moon, you get an end of day pattern. So your end of day pattern, one that's an interesting one that only pops around every blue moon is your, end of day fade. So an end of day fade is usually when a stock gets hit by news, end of day, oftentimes it'll be like in anticipation of earnings or something like that. So you can see like this ENPH had like a really, really nice run in the morning, up 2 solid points, and then it sat around all day. The reason it sat around all day could have been multifold. One of the reasons was that the earnings is the next day. So I had it on my watch list because stocks usually, the day of the earnings, of course, we're going to trade that, but even the day before the earnings, there's often some type of move where people are positioning themselves pre-earnings, right? You have your hedge funds, mutual funds, they're positioning themselves pre-earnings. So what I like to use is a website called Earnings Whisper, and it's pretty cool. Like you can go on there and, there'll be all sorts of, they'll have all sorts of like kind of nice stuff going on. So if you go on like Earnings Whispers, you have Earnings Whisper. You'll have a nice email letter that they do. It's for free. And then every day they kind of highlight like what are the different earnings that's going to come out on the calendar. So you can go in their calendar and see what's coming up. So I'm always well aware of the different earnings that are going to come out. And I like to put some of those stocks, if it's a stock that I know, on the watch list, even the day before the earnings, if it's something I'm expecting a reaction to based on chart or historical preference. But what we see around 2 p.m. is this stock starts to really get pounded down. And I'm assuming there's some type of news out due to the increase in volume. You can see here, like it's really doing like 10, 20, 30,000 shares a day in volume, shares a candle per volume. And then out of nowhere, you get 230, then you get 317. So right off the bat, like something's up, right? You're almost 10x normal volume. I'm assuming some kind of news is out. You can go and search for the news if you want, but when you're trading fast, like you don't really have the time to sit there and pull up your new Benzinga news scanner and necessarily go and hunt down the news, nor do I care, right? I see the volume coming in. I can make an assumption that something is moving. Remember that volume doesn't tell you what to trade or the price to trade, but it can give you confirmation to price movement. So this is price movement. The volume is confirming it. So, and when you do an end of day fade, it's a very, very just simple pattern. What I do is I trade 5-minute charts, but I move to a 2-minute chart and I treat this move like an ORB. And I can only do that if there's fresh news on the stock. So if it's like a regular 2 p.m. pattern and it breaks under the VWAP, I'm not doing like a 3-candle pattern and shorting it because those will fail. You can only do opening range setups at the open unless there's some type of news end of day or some type of flush that's coming in. Now I can make that assumption because I know the earnings are the next day too. So all I'm doing is, as we're trading in the chat room, it's, I'm looking at for a bear flag. So I end up shorting at 25.77 for day trade. I know that the red to green, which is when the stock goes from green to red, meaning it's down on the day, is only 13 cents away. So I know that'll trigger like a secondary ad. So, around 25.50, I can even double up. And then, I'm just kind of guiding everybody in the chat room of what's going on. This is going to be a pre-earnings dump. And, and here we go for, I end up covering half at 25.26. And then, I come in and, we take off some more at 24.75 and just kind of keep scaling this thing down. The key with this kind of move is that you don't, when you are using a 2-minute chart, you want to take that first flush, as you'll often get a retracement. And that's like the nature of the game. So it's meant to be a quick trade. Now, I take in like a, kind of a dollar on that last half is an okay trade, but it's not like a world beater, right? But what it does do is it gives us a tell that the next day I'm going to be shorting this thing probably at the opening ticket. So, what we ended up doing is, like, I already know this thing, this is telling me that there's going to be a big gap down in the market. So what you can see pre-market here is like this nasty kind of action. And you can see we're right off at the bat, like this thing dumps off, really the first candle. Now, that's kind of already in the cards, right? We can already tell by the pre-earnings dump that this thing's going to go. So see this, like at the open, I usually wait a little bit because I need 3 candles to take an ORB. But based on the previous day's action, I already know, like, okay, this thing's going to dump. So I can take it as soon as it breaks under a base, 21.20s, and then it's game on. I covered half at 1983, covered a fourth at 1933, and then by 10:15, so about 40 minutes into the market, I'm out of the last at 1885. So I ended up getting a really, nice shred on it, and I can take this thing really right at the open. As soon as it breaks under this base here, it's game on. Like, I wait for it to hold for like a second, and then it's into this first flush, I'm covering some off. Now, where I did make a mistake on this trade, you can see there was like a little bit of a retracement back to 21. I could have reloaded into this. I was playing some other stocks and I missed this. So I ended up kind of holding through the retracement and covering in the flush. But where I made my big mistake was I didn't double up here. As soon as this taps into the VWAP there, like, you have to reload your position. There's no point of getting like 1 gain if you can get 2 gains. And the rest of the day just kind of farted around. I think it'll be in play today at some point, but that's a good way to do an end of day fade. You catch that first shred, but then you got to make sure that you're going to rehit it the next day. Something's up, and when something's up, there's money there. And on a trade like this, like, I hit this thing 21.20s. My risk on the trade's only really 30 cents, right? Because I have this big base here, 21.50, so I don't even need to have a tighter stop than that. So if you go in 1,000 shares, you're going to risk $300, 2,000 shares, $600. So hopefully that helps. Guys, as always, feel free to ask any questions, as I'm always around. Leave any comments or just email me, kunal@bullson.ws, or message me on our Discord channel. You guys are more than welcome to join. And we also have, free chat day every blue moon. So, for those of you guys that are not a part of the community, doesn't mean you can't participate every blue moon and have some fun. Well, we got a pretty good group of dudes. So have fun, guys. Let me know if you need anything. Take care.